Hello and welcome to the Fortnightly Frontier. This is Season 3, Episode 12. My name is Meyer, and I'm joined today by Mr. Dionator, who's over there.
Right over here. Hello,
Yeah.
everybody. Sup?
Sup. That's the most awkward entry ever. Um,
You like stuff and things?
sure. Podcasting?
Ooh, I like podcasting too. But yes,
Wow.
welcome to Fortnightly Frontier, the only Star Citizen podcast that is as awkward as not finishing the sentence because
The
I can't think of
awkwardest.
it. Yes, we are the awkwardest. Yes, of course. Um, Not much to talk about, unfortunately. We've become so spoiled by the constant influx of new content and information that whenever 2 weeks pass where we don't get such a thing, we has a sad because we don't have anything. We has a sad because we have nothing to talk about. Yeah, nothing
Yeah.
really changed on the live or the PTU side ever since 2.4 is still out. No sign of 2.4.1 or 2.5. We just happily playing in Crusader, I suppose.
Yeah, not content-wise, nothing really much has changed in the past 2 months. I mean, in the PTU, we've had persistence and stuff like that from the beginning of Evocati up and towards the end of it, and now this for 2 months of pretty much content that's being kind of polished and stuff to as we get towards. I mean, we've now released 2.4, but as we go onwards, it's gonna continue to be polished and stuff like that, but there isn't anything new or even kind of teased over the horizon, really, in the immediate future.
In the immediate future, yes.
Yeah.
Something in the not so immediate but not so distant future, though. If cast your mind 2 weeks prior when we talked about how good it would be to have a roadmap,
A roadmap.
in a roadmap for Star Citizen. To have something to talk about, to have certain milestones to aspire to. And lo and behold, in the previous episode of 10 for the Chairman, our benevolent leader and glorious leader, Chris Roberts, spilled a few things, so to speak.
He let a few slip. Yes, he did.
Yeah. I wish they would actually make it official. Like, they would actually create a page that would have, patch 2.5 predicted features list and 2.6 list, 2.7 list. Although, then again, that would actually go against their current wanted patching thing where they are just releasing patches on a time base, not on feature base, which I think is stupid, but yeah, we'll let it slide, I suppose.
Yeah, they were good about releasing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they just said they would, but then they stopped.
Yeah. I don't really blame them really too much because 2.4 was a really huge patch. It really was, and them's the breaks really with that kind of thing. It's interesting though, but hopefully in the future. Sorry, somebody just opened my door and it took them like a minute to realize that. Anyway. My apologies. Very professional.
Lock or something.
I did, but I forgot to lock the door.
So professional.
Anyway,
to continue.
Yeah, so they've had a pretty tight schedule. I mean, pretty regular schedule with updates and stuff, like pretty much here is a PTU at the end of the month, here is the release sometime at the end of it. But then when 2.4 came out, that kind of threw that entire pattern off kilter. And we had like 2 months or more with Evocati testing and stuff like that for 2.4. And it's now coming to the end of June, and we still don't have anything, anything on the grapevine about a 2.4 or sorry, a 2.5 on Evocati or anything like that. So it's kind of like things have kind of slowed down. They did kind of like tease a 2.4.1 coming soon, but even that, today is the 20, what is it now? The 25th?
26th.
26th of June, and there still really isn't anything there. Maybe by the end of this week coming. So in the next 2 weeks, when we do this podcast again, hopefully by then, something would have come through. But for now, it's kind of like we're just kind of waiting. 2.4.1, of course, is only going to be bug fixes and stuff like that. Of course,
Of
for
course, yes. Stuff
Yeah.
like ships being stuck in landing pads, and maybe your favorite bug with the Reliant breakdancing in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
hangar.
yeah.
With our at this point notorious timing, 2.4.1 will be released on Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or Tuesday. Definitely between recording this episode and the time it comes out on YouTube.
Yeah.
So many times it has happened that I have absolutely no doubt it will happen again.
Hmm.
But yeah, but more about the roadmap.
The roadmap.
The
Okay.
roadmap, yes.
It's all yours.
All mine,
Yes.
yes. Let me bring up the patch notes because there are quite a bit. 2.5, we're getting an Outlaw base, and unlike what I said previously, it's probably not going to be Nyx.
Probably not going to be Nyx.
Not going to be Nyx because Nyx is planned for 2.7.
Okay.
And it's going to be a landing zone on a procedurally generated planet. And, to explain why we're so excited by 2.7, 2.7 will feature a full Stanton system, billion miles across, with procedurally generated planets with landing zones.
Nice. See,
And-
I was not expecting that at all. Even for a lofty
And that is
number
all planned for this year.
this year, yeah.
This year.
Yeah, but even for this year, and even a number so far away as 2.7, I still wouldn't have expected to have one complete system, because one complete system is basically you're pretty much almost there. Once you got the complete system and you got all that kind of done, it's just then. And you got all the planet systems and stuff like that kind of done. You're very, very close, aren't you? Until you get what almost might look like Star Citizen.
Yeah.
It seems very, very. Like the fact that they're talking about it and talking to us about it, and they're giving us a time frame, even though it's not like a really like a pinpoint time frame. It's still the end of the year. So like, if they don't manage
Which
to get,
is less than half a year. Well, no, it's actually
yeah, so
it's half a year plus 4 days.
just over 6
yeah,
months.
just over 6 months away. Yeah. Um. Yeah, I wasn't expecting it this year.
Yeah, yeah. But it's really cool. It's really cool. So Outlaw Base is not going to be Nyx, but it still doesn't discount that it might not be on one of the moons we have already, or it could just be like Kovalix or like any of the stations that we have already. What do you think it's going to be? Like how big do you think an Outlaw base is going to really be? It is an outlaw, and yeah, it's the base, but like how big can it possibly be? Because it's gonna have to be the headquarters of Ninetales, maybe, perhaps, I don't know.
Yeah.
Ninetales, for those who don't know, is if you ever dogfight any of the pirates within Crusader, or within and around Crusader, they talk about this pirate crew called Ninetales. Now, right now, if
you don't mess with the non-tails.
Yeah. Something like that. So like if you. Right now, however, if you become a criminal and you encounter those pirates, they will try and shoot you down with about as much gusto as if you were not a criminal. But hopefully by then, they'll have some kind of light reputation system going on. But even though it's going to be like maybe the headquarters of Ninetales, I just don't know how big it's going to possibly be. What do you think?
Well, I've no idea. The easiest thing would be to just make a duplicate of Olisar and just put it in a different location. But I do believe that they will implement the system with modular space stations. So they making Olisar look the way it is now, but made with all the modular components, and then they will use the same components but arranged in a different way to make the Outlaw base, and hopefully give it a different look, maybe a more run down look, not so polished like Olisar is.
That was going to be my next question to you. Like,
Yeah,
what kind of aesthetic do you think they'd go for? I mean, like, they always try and push the Drake aesthetic, the very utilitarian, put together piecemeal kind of builds of all their ships, save for maybe the Dragonfly, which is really small. But, when you see the Cutlass and you see the Caterpillar, they're very blocky, squarish, very paneled. They look like, that's it. They haven't gone the extra mile and made things round and smooth and pretty like Misk or Origin. I mean, like, you say that maybe they're going to be using the building blocks, of Port Olisar to make this station. But I can see that because Port Olisar really isn't very. I mean, it's quite basic, isn't it? It's got one
yeah.
room in the center. But I
It's
would
got
hate.
4 different identical
Yeah,
quadrants,
yeah.
which I think should be get rid of. They should get rid of that. They only made it that way because at first they had a limitation of 16 people per server, which is now has now been lifted. So now I hope at least they make it a little bit more purposeful in its
Yeah,
design.
yeah. I mean, I would hate to see the pirate base just being a carbon copy of Port Olisar. Yeah, we haven't really seen too much of Kovalex. I mean, it's very big from the outside. The inside is only very small. So I can see them kind of repurposing like bits of Kovalex to make into, or, like, because this system that they have for making these stations, I mean, like, there was a post about it a while ago, and you can probably expect to see bits of Korea here, bits of Olisar there. It wouldn't just be from one station. They'd probably like put it together in such a way as it looks kind of like natural. But how big? Just like the thought of the scale for the pirate base is just kind of like, what's taking in my mind, because it is a pirate base. So I mean, because it's a base, you expect it to be big, but they're outlaws, they're pirates. We have the UEE. This is an UEE space. So how big can possibly one target be, Because before the UEE goes, nuke that,
Well, yeah, as you say that, but as the lore says, right
Mm,
now the UE has problems getting a foothold in Stanton, so that's why they have Rent-A-Cops, which is
yeah,
Crusader security at the moment,
yeah.
and I doubt Crusader security has the manpower to take on all the pirates there are, especially if they have a huge base behind them.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, yeah.
Then again, you said Nine Tails being all Drake and stuff.
Mm.
They should also kind of stop using different ships. Then they should all be in cutlasses
That
and
would be
should
nice, yeah.
yeah.
It's never really made any sense to me, the fact that the pirates are flying some very custom, like some proper, like some proper. I don't even know like the word to explain, but it's like really tricked out, like custom Origin Jumpworks 350Rs. These are meant to be like luxury ships. Yeah, the pirates are flying them. They're flying
Well,
M50s,
you
and
can steal a 350R,
I
especially if
suppose
you're a
you
pirate,
could.
and then just take a bit of paint and make it red.
Yeah, yeah, but I'd expect to see that being very rare. These are luxury ships after all.
Especially since their MO as of now seems to be blow the ship up instead of capture it.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully when E-War and stuff like that comes out, you might be able to see more pirates looking to actually just debilitate you and steal stuff, as opposed to just outright review. Maybe there might be different pirate crews and stuff like that. NPCs. I mean, this is now we're not talking about 2.5 anymore. We're talking about in the PU. But I'd like to see like different kinds of pirates, and of course, these guys, the Ninetales, are not going to be throughout the entire verse. So I'd like
No,
to see a whole
I
bunch of different ones, and like there might be one group which is like just like kill everything. One group which is like use E-War and try and steal stuff. I'd like to see that kind of death.
yeah. Man, do you think we'll see? Oh, this is an interesting
Hmm?
thought, actually. There will be different factions of pirates, of course, different groups that will. Do you think and they'll all be NPCs? Well, yeah. If you want playable pirates, there will be player-based organizations, but the Ninetales are completely an NPC organization.
Yeah, at least for now.
So, yeah, this time at least, yeah. Do you think there will be actually behind the scenes fights for territory between the different pirate
Behind the
organizations?
scenes. Well, I
Well,
mean,
behind the scenes, I mean, without player interaction.
I don't see why that couldn't be a thing, because they have spoken about this like server that kind of like keeps an eye on everything and like
Mm-hmm.
makes things take over when players aren't there, and this is going to govern things like economy and like population of NPCs and stuff like that. So I don't know, it'd be easier for them to do that than actually for you to see that fight happening anyway. So they have mentioned that when the game is live and we have the persistent universe, there are going to be people employed as game masters, not just like the, to the degree that we have game masters in like games like World of Warcraft, where they're just like dealing with direct issues. But you're going to have another level of game masters on top of that, and they're going to be kind of looking down at the big picture
Mm-hmm.
and say, oh, okay, this organization right here, they're trying to dominate this thing here. We need to push, like 5 more platoons of Van Duel to kind of like,
Just to
so
balance things
yeah,
out. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So they're going to actually like they're going to like people are going to be basically vandal captains and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
they're going to try. And I'd be interested to see just how that works, and if they're going to be way overpowered and just like have infinite amounts of troops to kind of take care of an entire server trying to go do one goal. Maybe, I don't know. It's a really interesting thing to think about. It really is.
Yeah, and just
Yeah.
all the possibility that's about to happen. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was just thinking, how I'm just gonna be happy with, getting into my Carrack and trying to be self-sufficient, but there's gonna be a whole universe of other things that will be happening, and
Yeah.
trying to survive in that.
Yeah, I can already see the backlash on the forums and stuff like that. Like, oh my god, the game masters are way too overpowered. They should they should leave us alone. They should let me take over this station. What's going on, CIG? I can see it already.
Nah. Anyone who's ever played D&D will know that there's no such thing as an overpowered DM.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No. No.
I'd love to see how they go about doing all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and yeah, exactly how they make sure that there's no such thing as an overpowered DM, because you can easily fail at that kind of thing.
Yeah, there will be abuse of power. Yeah, and then if someone that has like an ulterior motive to get to become a DM and then just
Exactly.
all of a sudden wreck shit up. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be not that nice. But I suppose daily backups will have to be made for every
Yeah.
single player.
Okay. So I guess that was the Outlaw base in
The Outlaw
2.5.
Boys in
Yes.
2.5.
So what else did you say?
And tangents.
Mm.
What else? 2.7, like I said, is going to have
Full
full
Stanton system.
Stanton system. There's going to be 1 billion kilometers across. Let's just okay at 2.0.2c.
Uh-huh.
How long would that take to get from the one edge to the other edge? Calculators out, please.
I got the answer here. It's a long, long time. A long time. I
A
mean,
long time.
0.2c. I mean, like, even just forget about just going there at one stretch. That's just not going to happen, because at the moment, you have such a limited quantum fuel tank on your ships right now, and of course, this number can always be extended and reduced, however they want. But because it's so big and so wide across, I wonder just how much quantum fuel is going to be required to do things and stuff like that in the future in 2.7.
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
3 minutes if they keep sizes the same.
Okay.
Because yeah, 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. So, just real quickly, someone in chat says, Miss Titan K3 says, I said people can be Vandal captains. Not necessarily like that. What I mean is that, like CIG employees who are, who are being paid to kind of keep balance in the verse will basically have the power of captains in order to kind of like, if there are too many players here trying to take one resource or diminish the presence of vandals in one place, rather than a computer just doing it automatically. If the computer is still failing at that, or like the respawn rates are a certain way, or that kind of thing, they'll like manually say, okay, we need more vandal here, so they are kind of like captains. I don't think that that'll ever be extended towards kind of like subscribers. That's just a wee bit overpowered, just a tad.
It's even beyond the Evo cut. Yes, you would need to be a CIG employee to have that sort of perk. I think
Yeah,
that in the end, once everything's all and done, Ben is going to be head DM.
he's gonna hate his life.
Mm,
Mm.
nah, I think he'll love it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
And what else? What else? R Corp as a landing zone will not be coming in 2.7, but it will be shortly after. So
so
maybe
next year.
2.8. Yeah, sometime next year.
Mm.
So yes, the R Corp that everyone knows and loves, the one you get through via the magical elevator in your hangar, that will be a landing zone on a procedural planet. So you'll be basically able to do the thing they showed in the planetary landing demo so many moons ago.
Mm-hmm.
Land in front, get out, walk through the door, and there you are.
I'd like to see how that translates from what we have now to the future, because before this patch, people used to have these long corridors that were separated by these shutter doors, and then that was your hangar, and you could like walk for a mile and see all your ships. In 2.4, those shutter doors no longer work, and you basically use the port modification system to grab your ship from the ether, and it's there in that central hangar. Um, and of course, in 2.8 or wherever, the shutter in front should open, and then you could go out into the blue. But I don't know. I don't know. I mean, where exactly are the what I don't want to see, and this is where my opinion is coming from. I don't want it to be like Grand Theft Auto 5, where like there are a lot of different like places you can live in Grand Theft Auto 5. You can buy a whole bunch of apartments, the same way you can have a whole bunch of hangars in Star Citizen. But like you go to that one apartment block, and like you just see people spilling out of it, spilling out of it, spilling out of it, because not only you own that one apartment block, like it might be the most sought after apartment block in the game, so that's where everybody goes to and buys. I mean, I can see this VFG industrial hangar being this small asteroid, but every 5 minutes you just see people puttering out, and it's just going to be the most immersion breaking thing ever. I'd
It
like
could be a
yeah,
monumentally huge asteroid with thousands of hangars in it.
I'd still dislike that immensely.
Yeah.
I still really dislike that.
Yeah. That you don't want just a few hundred locations or a few dozen locations for the hangars. You would want them to be like the entire asteroid belt, the one between Mars and Jupiter, to be dedicated to hangars for the VFG
Yeah,
hangars. So you can actually fly for hours between two different asteroids.
yeah. High rise asteroids. I mean, Elite Dangerous, actually. I mean, forgive me for mentioning Elite Dangerous or ED or Elite Dongle, but they do a really good job of going into these big like station cities, and then like it gives you a random place to land, and then you go underneath it, and then all that kind of stuff is there for you. I feel like Star Citizen may not have that luxury, because like you actually have planetary landing zones as opposed to these like stations. I mean, it could have worked in a Port Olisar kind of setting, but in a place where your hangar is supposed to be in your hometown, so that's gonna have to be a fixed thing. I don't know. It's just a bit. They're gonna have to kind of find a really interesting way to make it work, in my opinion. I don't know. What do you think?
Um, yeah, it's to make it to give the illusion of space being huge and empty. It's gonna take a lot of work. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Elite Dangerous, but just look at EVE Online. You have these monumentally huge space stations that basically every player in the universe could dock with.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we want to avoid. Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Mm.
Hold on, but I'm just double checking my math here because chat disagrees.
They're like 3 minutes. How dare you,
How
sir?
dare I? Okay,
How
yes, and I do believe that I missed a zero, but chat said it's going to be 4.5 hours to cross 1 billion kilometers. But if I just missed a single zero, that's still not. So we got.
And now we introduce a new segment of the podcast, Math with Doginator.
Math with Darinator, which is slightly better than Math with Meyer.
Slightly better, just slightly better.
Slightly better than Math with Meyer, and that's a bit of a joke because tune into Meyer's test and you'll see just how bad Math with Meyer actually is.
Hey, Meyer, what's 5 plus 5? I don't know, 25? Yeah, it's bad. Anyway.
So we got 1 million. No, it can't be right. Maths. Hey, thousand.
I love how
million.
incensed chat's getting about it.
So 0.2 C is 60 million kilometers per second.
Is it?
Yes.
Well, the ships right now don't go 60 million kilometers per second. That's the top speed.
No, I'm wrong. Oh, no, it's... yes, chat, sorry. It's not 299,792.458, it's 299,792.458 kilometers per second.
Okay.
Yes,
Which
I actually know the speed of light to 3 decimal places. So that means 60,000 kilometers a second. So we go.
So how long will it be, Darch? How long will it be? How long will it be, Darch?
16,666 seconds, which is 278 minutes, which is 4.6 hours. Yes.
So it'll take 4.6 hours at quantum speed to get from one edge of the standard system to the other.
Yes.
That's if it's exactly 1 billion.
Chat was right.
Chat 1, Doginator 0. So if it's going to take you like that long to get from one end to the other, you can expect it to take even longer logistically, because you already burn a lot of quantum fuel getting from, getting around the verse, and the tiny like Crusader area anyway.
Yeah.
And so they're going to have to be a hell of a lot of Cryastras dotted around. Otherwise, you're going to end up finding yourself pretty stranded pretty fast.
Which is why I need to find some way to tell Chris Roberts that they need to include a sort of quantum network.
Quantum network.
Yeah, like gates between the most visited places in a system that would get you there a lot faster, but would also take a lot more money than you would pay in raw quantum fuel. But then you don't use any quantum fuel. You don't have the risk of being stranded in the middle of nowhere. You get there to the destination.
Right.
I think Freelancer is it? Yeah, I think Freelancer had the same sort of system. What is the game? The TV show, the one that you're supposed to watch but aren't because reasons.
Cowboy Bebop?
Cowboy Bebop, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, tollway in space. I would totally support that if I can get, from Earth to Neptune in several minutes instead of several hours.
That'd be interesting. Yeah, so...
But then, it would be just between 2 specific points. If you want to travel in this vicinity around the planet to these different moons or somewhere else, you would need to actually burn your own quantum fuel at 0.2 C.
Yeah. I wonder how they're going to be doing the... Space is big, space is vast, space is mostly nothing. So,
yes, but our space is fun to play in. Yeah, how are they going to do that?
Yeah, exactly. Because as Evo Streams in the Twitch chat said, basically Chris Roberts mentioned that it's going to take in about 10 minutes to get from one planet to another planet. So in between those 10 minutes of travel, let's say hypothetically that when that happens, your quantum tank is going to be a lot bigger, so there aren't going to be any stops along the way. What's going to punctuate that and make it fun? Is it just going to be random encounters with pirates? Because that'll be dull. Or what? I mean, how is it going to work exactly? Yeah, I don't know.
Well, then again, does it have to be punctuated every single time?
Then it's just 10 minutes of flying
Yeah.
in a straight line.
And then you have 10 minutes of being in quantum fuel, so you can, fix a few things in your ship that went wrong, or, do some other things.
They would,
check,
yes,
check
that's
the
a good
job
point.
well for new missions and chat with people and,
That is a very good point. I mean,
yeah,
those larger
it's
ships, exactly. Yeah, I'm not really sure how they do that with the smaller ships with the smaller HUDs, like the lack of space to go around and actually look at these points. But with a larger ship, if you're going at quantum speeds from one planet to another, I mean, like you would have people in engineering anyway keeping an eye at certain things. There would most likely be a mini game, set around that, making sure that things don't overheat as you're traveling and all that kind of stuff. Maybe overclocking things so you go there faster. I don't
yeah.
know.
I still don't see that you need to have constant action in an MMO like this.
Mm.
You know,
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
traveling from one point to another, I think should be rather uneventful if you're doing it in high security space. But unlikely dangerous. It would be nice to have actually something to do once you get there. I think they should concentrate on that, but also keep the distances quite far.
Yeah. Maybe not 1-to-1, but
Yes, definitely not one-to-one. People will lose patience very quickly unless
yeah,
if there's no quote
nothing
unquote
else to do.
fast travel
More like
between.
1-to-fun, am I right?
Oh ho ho!
Wow. I apologize for that, guys. Please
Yeah,
don't
you should
leave.
be sorry. Um. Yeah. If so, yeah, several things would need to change. Either speed of quantum travel or um the distances will be not one-to-one. Yeah.
Or more points of interest. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
But then again, space is meant to be vast, but it's a game in space, so all sorts of different things. Maybe you can come across a wreck, or there might be like a distress beacon or something. Things to.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't necessarily have to always punctuate them, and you can always ignore DB or something like that. So it's. I'd be interested to see what they do with the longer flights, and this is past 2.7 with the half an hour, how long it will take to get from one end to the other. But like with let's say a huge journey. Let's say that you're tired of playing with these guys who just hang around this one system because of course it costs fuel and money and all that kind of stuff to leave the system, and that system already is rich with things to do, and you want to move. Like anyway.
Pack everything into your character and just
Yeah,
go.
yeah. There needs to be kind of like distractions within that ship, like sim pods. I mean, sim pods are gonna be. I mean, for those who don't know what a sim pod is, if you go into your hangar, if you have the game, it's that like circular machine in your hangar, and you go inside it, and that's where Arena Commander and stuff like that is. In the larger ships, it's nice because it'll be nice because you can like get off your seat or whatever, and then go shoot some ships or race and stuff like that. I'm not sure how it will work in the smaller ships. Maybe you have to like buy like a in-game head console or something like that. I don't know, but the
Yeah, but
space
then again,
itself,
I don't think that
yeah.
single player ships, the small ones, will have the fuel capacity to do the long treks. They would
Yeah.
need to be berthed to larger ships that can do it.
Yeah.
Instead of just hopping from one cryastro to another.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Or Hyper Vanguard Force and an arcade machine in your ship. I would love to see that game in Star Citizen as maybe a hangar flare or something.
As like a
Yeah,
really old vintage arcade machine that you can have in your hangar and just play.
exactly. I mean, it doesn't even necessarily need to be kind of vintage in Star Citizen, because I mean, like, in any, like, I mean, Star Trek, for instance, like, they did away with video games like generations ago, so like they can get away with having really shoddy looking games that are supposed to be present day. So I mean, it could be similar in that case. But I
Hmm.
would love to, either way, I would love to see it in game. The same
Hmm.
way I would love to see the star map in game. Maybe when those things come in, they'll come in all at once. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, with I do believe with Item Port 2.0, it's not part of Item Port 2.0, but I've heard
Yeah.
it that is going to be bundled with it in the update.
Mm.
Not Item Port 2.0, sorry, just the Item 2.0. I've been calling it Item Port 2.0 for several podcasts now. And it's just yes, the Item 2.0 system, which will also allow you to lock your ship, for instance.
That would be nice.
Hmm.
That would be nice.
That is, as was also mentioned, one of the updates coming up next.
Coming
They
up,
they
yeah.
haven't said when exactly, but it's coming.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what else? What else? What
What
else?
else?
Mining,
No.
cargo, etc. will be fast tracked after
After, so
2.7. So that means it's not coming out
217.
this year. What?
No, unfortunately, no.
I'm saddened by this
Well,
revelation.
that is the current plan.
Mm.
But um, was the phrase "lofty plans of mice and men" or something along those lines? I'm sure chat will correct me, as they have already. Chat to Jarionator Zero. Yeah, 2.7 is something that is very interesting, very exciting. And do you think we will see it before CitizenCon?
Before it's gonna be one of those things that unless the Evocati people kind of have like I think with Evocati in mind, it'll probably be in the works a month before CitizenCon, and then the release would be on CitizenCon. If because CR likes to be grandiose, like he likes to say, "Oh, by the way, this is out. By the way, this is out."
No,
So,
you don't say.
you don't say. So if it was coming around CitizenCon, there would need to be time for Evocati. So I would have to say that in that case, like they would have for the Evocati members, if it was to come out around CitizenCon, there would be we would have word of it a month before.
Mm.
But
But then
yeah.
again, you won't be able to tell anybody, and you'll just put your smug face back on. The very punchable face that you that you wear so well.
So yeah, I can't wait for
Yeah,
CitizenCon and stuff
can't.
like
No,
that.
me
Yeah, that
neither.
should be
We're
great. That
both
should be
going.
great.
I don't.
Ta-da!
I don't believe viewers of Fortnightly Frontier alone. No, but due to some glorious generosity by your viewers, you are now able to afford to go.
That this community is the best.
Hmm.
They are pretty freaking amazing. And
You
so
are.
thanks.
You guys are the best. Yes.
Sorry. Anyway. So what else is there? I mean, like that is from the roadmap, but we've seen other things as well. What you didn't touch on were things like I mean, of course they're going to be putting out other things like new customization options and things like that. So with customization, and this is a really touchy subject for some people,
Mhm.
like like female the female skins and female characters and stuff like that
Mhm.
have been in the game files for a while, but then we're talking about thousands of animations and stuff like that, but people
Yeah,
are
you
thinking,
can't just apply the male animations to a female character. The gate is all
yeah,
wrong,
yeah,
and
but the answer that it's a lot of work just doesn't fly with won't fly with many people because
because
it's
they're idiots. I appreciate that Meyer is a lot more tactful and doesn't like to say things the way they are, but I'm not, and I will call an idiot an idiot. It does take a lot of work, and
it's a
it's
lot of
going to take a lot of work, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can
mm.
go bitch and moan about it on Reddit and on the forums, but nothing's going to change the fact that it's going to take a lot of work.
When do you think though? I mean, like it was barely speculated on like here in the roadmap, but
Could be 2.6 because nothing was actually mentioned for 2.6.
I mean, even the most basic things will probably make people just calm down just a little bit more, you know?
Yeah, that is
Because,
true.
yeah, I mean, we're in a really strange place with Star Citizen because even though, yes, excuse me, it's like an early access, not early access, but it's an early alpha. Like, you know, it's in alpha, full stop. People still expect the world from it because of how polished it is and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I go through Reddit daily and on the forums, and there's just so much. The NACL is real.
Yeah. The NACL.
The NACL. Yeah, I know you understand it, but will you like to explain for chat?
Sodium chloride. The
Yeah.
salt.
Salt. Yeah, the salt is real. Especially when you got a few social justice warriors bitching about how this game is aimed at, cis white men just because the only character right now in it is a white dude. But it's so hard to maintain composure in the presence of such people.
Okay. All right. Well,
Before I say anything worse, let's move on.
please. Anyway. So that's all. That's all there is really to with Chris Roberts' roadmap. What are we to expect next week? I believe that there is going to be some really. I mean, it was hyped on Twitter. This I don't know if it's a 10 for the chairman or something like that. So I think maybe it's coming out tomorrow. But it's a thing with Sean Tracy and Chris Roberts. They're answering questions. So I think it's a 10-4. But we were told to look forward to this, and there should be some juicy information coming with it, most likely. So I'm looking forward to that a lot.
Considering it's Sean Tracy, I think it's going to be a lot on the procedural planets.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that was what in that roadmap? That was 2.7, yes.
2.7, yes, but
yeah.
they said they will have a lot of information coming out before that, and since it's Sean Tracy, it was Sean Tracy demoing the first landings with the Cutlass on the anniversary stream, I believe it was.
Yeah.
So I do believe it's going to be more of that.
Right. Other way, man. 2.7 can't come any faster.
No.
As a streamer, I mean, like you there's a lot of things you can do in Star Citizen, and a lot of people are really happy to watch that kind of thing. But I mean, you're never gonna see the influx that people like saw last year in November without something tactile. Like the 2.4 persistence patch was a huge bump to many streamers, but at the same time, it wasn't a tactile thing. It was like, right, okay, so things are now persistent. And yes, in the back end of Star Citizen, it's kind of like, wow, all this crazy stuff's happened, almost as much change to the code and stuff has happened here than almost as that happened from 1 to 2, right? But to a viewer's perspective, almost nothing has changed. Yes,
almost nothing.
Yeah, so
so instead of every time loading to a preset loadout, the loadout is now the same as when you logged off. So that's the only thing that's changed.
Yeah. So to a viewer, it's kind of like, so
unless
what? This
unless
isn't quantum travel.
Exactly. Unless you know exactly what's going on behind it. And I really hope that our viewers will learn, if they don't already, through our innate ramblings, just how much work is needed to do the things that have been done, and to learn, just maybe just slightly appreciate all the hard work that's been going in.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine having to work on it and having this monumental task that is the end game of Star Citizen ahead of you.
With the entire world looking at you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Judging your every move. Your every ULA change. But yeah, I mean, so I don't want to just finish just yet. There is one last thing I wanted to talk about.
Go for it.
So we have 2.4. 2.4 is persistence, right? Well, what we have here is just the tip of the iceberg for the entire thing that is persistence. So, to you, my question to you is, what do you think is going to come next for persistence?
For persistence.
Yeah, so like they've touched upon the idea of being able to sell items and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, but with the keyword, the operating word being persistence, what do you think is going to be next for persistence? You know, or like the next the things you would like from persistence.
That's a good question. Damage states,
Persistent damage states. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
that's a good one. Yeah,
Both to ships and to the player.
that'd be great.
Because right now it's ship blows up, you have to wait a few minutes, and then there you go, brand new ship. Hopefully, ships that don't blow up so easily. So you actually take damage, but you're able to limp off more easily.
You
You
know,
know,
speaking about that, right
and get
now,
yeah,
yeah, the ships they go, target destroyed or kill if you're a nature ship, but there isn't like target disabled. You know, it's
yeah.
either green or red. There
Mm-hmm.
isn't like a target disabled where it's like now you can approach it and the ship isn't gonna turn on you and shoot you. And I feel like that needs to be a thing, but that's not really persistence. I just wanted to put that in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Um, yeah, that's something that always bothered me. It's how easily the ships can be destroyed, and that there is no middle ground.
Mm, yeah.
Even for pirates, like you said before, you would love to have a pirate faction that doesn't go for the kill,
Yeah.
just
Exactly.
to disable you and I don't know, sort of send a message or just to steal from you.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean. Mm-hmm.
yeah, that needs something like that needs to be implemented, just so you don't lose the ship so easily.
Yeah. Yeah. With
Um,
persistence, I think. I mean, sorry, were you done with your
yeah, I'm
persistence
done. I was
wish
done. Yes, I
list?
was done. Yes.
In my wish list, one thing that you haven't touched that I would really love to see with persistence would be definitely the ability, like persistent locations. When they announced persistence, I was, I hoped the persistent locations would be there, but I guess it was,
Mm-hmm.
pretty big wish. But what I mean by persistent locations is that, let's say I've just spawned and I log off in the ship deck. I want to log on at the ship deck. Let's say I'm in a Merlin and I'm flying at cruise speed from Port Olisar to Yella, and I log off. I want to log back on exactly where I logged off. And I know, like, when the game comes out, there'll be an autopilot. When you log off like that, your ship's gonna, like, redirect itself to like the nearest station or something like that. But like, I would have loved to just be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah,
mm,
or if you're on foot, the whole subsumption part of the AI is going to take over control of your character. So,
mm-hmm.
like a few minutes after you're logged off, your character is just going to stroll off into an easy cab and go to bed. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the reasoning behind you waking up in an easy hab every time you log in. But yeah, bleh, 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 bleh. So that yeah, if you die, I think that will be one of the things coming with 2.7 and the entire system, because if it is going to take 4.5 hours to get from one side to the other.
Mm-hmm.
If your game crashes halfway there, and then you log back on and you're back at Olisar and have to do this trip all over again, that's gonna
Yeah.
oh
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
the price of salt in the universe is gonna skyrocket.
Skyrocket or be as cheap as anything as chips because there'll be so much of it.
There will be so much salt, yeah.
Exactly. uh, yeah, so that's something I just really want to see, persistent locations. I
Yeah.
mean, that being able to actually
Once we
sell things.
have once we have several locations that are quote unquote safe, because right now the only safe location is Olisar.
Mm-hmm.
I think you will get your wish.
Your wish is my command.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, cool. So,
Are we done?
I believe so. I believe that is everything.
That is everything.
Unless you want to talk about.
even though we didn't have anything to talk about, we all actually managed to waste 50 minutes of everyone's time.
Time well wasted. Time well wasted.
But yes, so that has been it. Actually, no, it's your turn to do the outro. Pardon me.
All right. Okay, guys. So this has been the Fortnightly Frontier. I shall start again. Okay, guys. So this has been Season 3, Episode 12 of the Fortnightly Frontier. Thank you so much for dropping by, for watching on Twitch, for our guys on YouTube as well. Thank you so much for subscribing. Don't forget to leave a like. That helps us a lot with YouTube analytics and stuff like that. So please feel free to do so. If you've watched the entirety of the video, then thank you.
And we're sorry.
And we're sorry. Exactly. Yeah. So
with that said, we will see you in the verse.